It's the Atlantic 10 on ESPN. A big conference game tonight at UD Arena as the LaSalle Explorers visit the Dayton Flyers. Both these teams fighting for positioning as we get ready for the Atlantic 10 tournament. As we are a week away from making our way to Delaware, Alex Mikas and the former Flyer Christine Zamo. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Christine, it's almost like the tournament before the tournament. LaSalle Explorers, if they want to get a bye, they can't miss a beat here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, every game is so critical, especially down the stretch, and getting that bye is so critical. You know, resting players, making sure that you're as, ready to go for that huge stretch that is the A10 tournament.
Man, you see the standings, and the top four teams do get a bye, and Fordham playing Rhode Island tonight, St. Louis playing UMass, and trying to see if George Washington St. Joe's might slip up. This is a LaSalle team. It's coming off a loss, but one thing that they've had all season long is Kayla Sproul. She led the Explorers the last time out in that defeat to St. Louis, and she has just been a sensational player her entire career.
Yeah, she's a player that every coach wants on their team. She's an all A10 first teamer a season ago and brings just a calm veteran presence on both ends of the floor. And also, doesn't hurt that she can flat out shoot it from three. She's shooting around 38% from on the arc this season.
And she's the all-time leader in threes made at LaSalle. Kayla Sproul is going to be going up against Mariah Perez. We look at the other side of the floor. She has just been a monster in the middle for Dayton this year.
Yeah, I'm expecting a big game out of Mariah Perez tonight. LaSalle struggles to rebound, and Mariah's averaging 9.4 rebounds per game. And she also gives the Flyers around 12 or so points per game, and it's just really, you said it, monster, a force to be reckoned with down low.
It's the Atlantic 10 on ESPN. UD Arena. And the Flyer faithful fired up for this one. It's cold outside, but things heating up here for Saturday as Southeastern and Dayton meet for the very first time ever. The Southland Conference and the Atlantic 10 on this third day in December as sitting courtside. Happy to have you on board, Alex Mikas and the former Flyer, Keith Walaskowski. And Keith, this Dayton team ranked in the top 25 to start the year. Unfortunately, though, they've had to deal with a lot of injuries in a short time, and they're trying to find their rhythm. They looked good the other night in that 20-point victory against Western Michigan.
Yeah, they did. They have a lineup now that they can get a little creative with. They've been dealing with injuries literally since practice started. They haven't had a full lineup for a single practice, for a single game. They've had at least somebody out with an injury. Flu's kind of gone through this team. It's been difficult for them to kind of manage. Hopefully they can find a little bit of a flow with the lineup they have now, though.
They're without both their point guards, and Kobe Elvis and Malachi Smith, but we start talking about that position, but on the other side of the ball, and that being Boogie Anderson. This is a transfer from South Dakota. He's a fun player to watch.
He really is. I mean, he's got a scoring mentality, wants to get to the bucket, wants to get into the paint, finish some shots off. Interesting to me, he averages almost 12 points a game. As a guard, he's literally not attempted a three-point shot all season long. He just wants to get to the basket, so something the Flyers are going to have to be aware of and ready to stop.
He had 15 points the other night in their loss to Xavier. On the other side of the ball, Tsumani Kamara, boy, was he impressive on Wednesday in that victory against Western Michigan. 17 points, 7 of 8 from the field, and defensively, he's playing on another level.
Yeah, he finally got into flow the other night on the offensive end. It's always been there all season long on the boards. Defensively, he's always there. 6'8", 220 pounds, very strong defender, very long. He gets the job done, and they're looking to kind of have him drive the team.
The Davidson Wildcats started the tournament with a 2-0 victory. Remy White got them on the board in the 17th minute. Maddie Moody gets them on the double as they beat the Dukes, and Dayton the same scoreline as they take care of UMass. Atala Gemelli continues to score goals. Alicia Donnelly put away the Minutewomen. And Dayton and Davidson, a semifinal matchup next. The Atlantic 10 on ESPN. Semifinal trip to the championship game on the line. The 2-seeded Dayton Flyers taking on the number 4-seeded Davidson Wildcats. Cool and comfortable Alex Mikas, Ian Richardson, and this is going to be a fun matchup, Ian, and one of those games that you really dream of.
Absolutely. It's set up on paper, two teams finely balanced. Really interested to see how it goes tonight.
Let's show you how we got here as we take a look at the quarterfinal results. And Davidson getting their first home game in over a decade, and they were able to take care of business. Dayton the same, and then the surprise of the tournament, St. Joe's over VCU.
Yeah, certainly an upset. You normally get one at this stage in the competition, and I'm sure VCU will be sick of seeing St. Joe's.
No surprise about St. Louis, and we look at the semifinals set for tonight. And St. Louis and St. Joe's going an hour after we get started here, but the winner of these games, if St. Louis takes care of the Hawks, they'll be hosting on Sunday. Anything else, it'll be Dayton's home game if they're able to take care of the Davidson Wildcats. But defense wins championships, and this is a Davidson squad that's got a terrific back line, and it's led by their goalie and Mary Grace Bunch. And you saw Tala Gemelli on the screen. This is a really great matchup in just what we're talking about. Terrific offense, amazing defense.
You talk about interesting dynamics in games and how critical the first goal can be. Tonight sums it up perfectly. A defensive team that doesn't give up a great deal, and a Dayton team that can score a lot of goals at home.
Look at that, 12 shutouts for Mary Grace Bunch, two-time first team all-conference. And, well, Atala Gemelli can say that same thing. And she got the goal against the Wildcats when looking back to September 15th. It was a 1-0 decision.
You know, with her in your team, you're always going to get a chance at some point during the game. So quick, so good in front of goal on that right foot, and coming into the game in good form.
She got the goal against UMass, and she led the conference this year in goals. So Dayton, Davidson, oh, this is going to be a good one, folks. The starting lineups in the kickoff. When we return, a trip to the championship game coming up. It's Atlantic 10 on ESPN. A snowy day in Dayton, Ohio. The first snowfall of the fall season, which also makes sense. And that's being the last game of the regular season. The Dayton Flyers taking on the Rhode Island Rams. Welcome into the Frerick Center. Alex Mikas with former Flyer Brooke Westfeld as Dayton taking care of business last night in 3 sets. And for the Flyers, trying to secure the 3rd seed this afternoon. And for Rhode Island, well, it's a young team just trying to get better, and they have a setter and freshman that's having a really nice close out to the season, and that being number 10, Hope Passarello out of Davies, Florida. Last night she was able to come up with 21 assists, and she has been really strong the last few weekends, taking over this offense for Angel Agu. And Brooke, you know all about passing, and you're excited to highlight the centers on the other side of the floor. Dayton features Livy Sant.
Yep, Livy Sant. Not only was she Atlantic 10's former setter of the year, but she also made first team all-conference last year. No surprise seeing good numbers from her. Her season high is actually 48 assists, and that was versus Wright State earlier in the season. And last night, she got 22 assists versus Rhode Island to put her second in the conference at 8.83 assists per set. Super important match for her and her team as, again, like you said earlier, they're trying to secure that 3rd spot in conference.
Taking a look at the standings. Congratulations to the Loyola Chicago Ramblers. They won last night against Davidson, and they are winners of the regular season. So they'll be the 1 seed. Davidson will be the 2 seed. And Dayton, with a victory today, will secure that 3rd spot. Now, what's interesting, George Washington playing VCU. It was the Colonials that lost last night to the Rams, so VCU got a chance to bump George Washington from 5, and Dayton would be playing either GW or VCU if the Flyers secure the 3. So we'll find that out later today, but first things first, as Dayton and Rhode Island for your Saturday